is knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking on the door? Oh, guess who is knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking on the door. Well, I am the brave young lad out of the wild I run. I'm the forsaken child, swept underneath your rug. Guess who is knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking on the door? Oh, guess who is knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking on the door. I am the brave young lad, followed by hollow years. I learned to bark at night when you kept your mother near. Guess who is knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking on the door? Oh, guess who is knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking on the door. Knocking on the door. Guess who is knocking on the door? Oh, guess who is knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking on the door. I am the brave young lad out from the wild I run. I'm the forgotten one. Guess who is knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking on the door? Oh, guess who is knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking on the door.
That was Guess Who's Knocking by Ryan Bingham, the song of the night. And I am, of course, Jim Foster. And with me is my co-host, the one and the only, Steve StarKiller Snug.
That moment when you low-key sneak your entrance theme into the beginning of the show.
Right. What's up, man? How are ya?
I'm doing good, man. Ready to get this episode on the roll.
Yeah. So we need one of our YouTubers, one of our peeps, to tell us, are you hearing us? It's pretty important that you're hearing us. Because, like, tonight's, like, extremely important. Like, there couldn't be a more important night in the history of professional wrestling.
So it's kind of important.
It's kind of. So for those of you who are seeing the link for Booking with Jim Foster, and it says special guest host Chris DeLeon, and the reason why that keeps coming up, I have no idea, because I'm putting up the link of the current one, and it's just being stupid. So, anyways, Song of the Night. That was your pick.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
Let's see. For longest time, I was using, I was using some theme music that I didn't really, I wasn't really feeling. I was just driving down the road, going to a show one day, and it didn't even play that song. They just used it as a segue to an interview, and I was like, that song's badass. I'm gonna use that. That's what it was. And the thing is because it pretty much says what I want to say, because I'm not gonna say that, on like TV. I'm just gonna find ways to get around it, just because I had the theme song say it. That's how I picked it out. And then you told me to pick out a song, and I just low-key put it in there.
Just low-key, huh? Low-key like TNA low-key?
Oh, not that low-key.
Alright. Well.
Hi, TJ.
Who's there? Well, okay, so, and apparently we have quite a bit of audience, so we have with us, tonight we're going to talk about quite a few things. In particular, we're going to talk about newborn wrestling and BEW, the developmental place for NBW. And we're going to talk about that, and we can't do that without the right kind of people to talk about it. I mean, Steve, you're part of NBW, and, I'm friends with everybody in NBW, and probably some people in BEW, and, of course, I'm friends with Chris DeLeon. But we really can't talk about NBW correctly the way that it needs to be talked about. So I guess the only thing that we would have to do would have to get in contact with somebody and get somebody on the show.
But who would that be?
I don't know. Who would that be? I don't know. Who do you think the best person would be to get on the show to talk about NBW? I think it would be Christian Rainey.
I think it would.
I think it would.
I'm already here.
Yeah.
And we already have one DeLeon.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure if we can get in contact with that guy, but he's busy, so you might need to use your connections to be able to get him on the show.
Let me see if I can. I feel like Christian Rainey might be like. Oh, there he is. Hey, Christian.
Oh, snap!
Hey guys.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Funny you should be right there.
I know. It's funny how the world works sometimes. I felt a need in... When there's a need, there's a Rainey.
Well, it's important that you're here because, again, we want to talk about NBW, and we want to talk about...
I'm going to stop you real quick.
Okay.
Just for a second. I just want to... I don't think everyone understands the significance of this little situation. I mean, this is the very first time on a podcast newborn wrestling will be talked about. The very first time on a podcast, Christian Rainey will talk about newborn wrestling on a podcast. And this is the very first time Christian Rainey will meet with Jim Foster and Steve StarKiller Smith, a former newborn wrestling champion, and talk about newborn wrestling.
I did not know that. Did you know that, Steve?
I don't know anything, but I'm already excited as hell.
I'm excited too. So, real quick before we get into that, Kelly Hackenschmidt is in the chat room, and of course he's gonna be
big fan.
He's gonna talk about the fact that he's not on the show. Well, I'm sorry. Eventually.
Someday, I mean, Kelly's my little moneymaker over there, hacking whatever.
Holy Schmidt.
He is the world heavyweight champion somewhere.
Somewhere.
So
it's in some house.
So, it's in a house of professional wrestling, I think. I
Sounds
think.
gross.
Yeah. Sounds like a bunch of big sweaty guys rolling around with each other. Ew.
God, that's gross. None of
Had to
that.
give you a visual, huh?
Oh.
Sophia, when you're actually watching the live feed, you can actually see that's the chat that I'm talking about. Just to let you know that if you do ask me a question, I will talk. X King Pepe, who's in the YouTube chat room. Hello.
That would be. I know. Wait. I think I know who that is.
Who would that be?
I think it's a Prince Parker Mitchell's, if I
Oh,
remember correctly.
Prince Parker Prince.
Oh, I thought that was always parts per million. What's up, man?
So, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and talk about, NBW and all this good stuff, but Steve, I'm hearing something in my headphones, and I know the listeners are hearing something. It's just like it sounds so awesome.
They're probably listening to the absolutely awesome and free music that we get on the show from TechnoAxe. If you are interested in that, you can go subscribe to their channel on YouTube. We're not paid to plug this, just like how I'm not getting paid to plug my awesome t-shirts. So you can go to their website, subscribe to the channel TechnoAxe, and buy one of my t-shirts while you're at it.
Buy his
All
t-shirts.
for free.
Buy his
Those
t-shirts.
aren't free though.
The t-shirts aren't free. So I guess now that we've done our plugging, Mr. Christian Rainey, the man that I first met in GWF, sir, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, if anyone has any questions, you're gonna have to let me know, because I am not in a position where I can see those questions. But, Steve, I got a couple questions for you.
What's up, man?
I mean, everyone in Newborn Wrestling wants to know this, and it's just this little thing, and Hulu executives are at my freaking throat about this because they're mad at me that I let this happen. LJ Bradley. Come on. What happened?
With LJ, we didn't become a tag team or friends by just we did what a lot of people in the industry do. We fought each other first. And if it wasn't for LJ, and I met him in St. Louis, and for all you NBW loyalists, you probably have heard a couple of us go on about St. Louis. We were kind of stationed out there. We met each other, and when I had to wrestle him, I realized, wow, this dude's on another level. I mean, I just kind of came out there, started talking trash, and he made me step my game up. And then we ended up becoming a team. We ended up having each other's back. And fast forward to now, we're here in NBW, and he feels a certain type of way. And I think I've had some excellent opportunities here. I think he's had some opportunities, but I think from what it sounds like, maybe he feels like he's been carrying me. And
Is there truth to that?
I ain't gonna. I think, if anything, people know me. They know who Steve StarKiller Smith is when it comes to wrestling world. I'm not trying to knock what he does outside of it. He's a man in Hollywood. He does things. I can't do what he does. I'm struggling. I've been struggling to get us on Hulu. He could take a part and bring it home. But when it comes to the squared circle, I think everyone knows who the main attraction of Revolution was. And that was Steve StarKiller Smith.
You heard it here.
Wow.
So, but the question on my mind is, LJ wants a match. He both. It's known that both of your contracts are up in July, and I've been trying to get him on the phone. I've been doing everything I can to try to get a deal with him, but he keeps on ducking me. And the first I hear from him, he's calling you out and he's taking you out, and he just wants to fight you to prove something. I don't know what he wants to prove, and it's driving me nuts. But are you willing to fight LJ Bradley?
I mean, when he asked about it, I didn't want to fight him. That's my brother. And don't get me wrong, when I said that, he made me eat those words when he made me eat a spine buster. And I'm man enough where I could take an ass whooping. And you know what? I can take one of my brothers doing something that is against me because I love him. I could take it back. But when he put his hands on my wife, that was too far. So if he wants a match with me, it's not because I'm trying to do it because I want to save his NBW career. I don't really want to have a match with him because it's not going to be a contest. It's not going to be, this thing where we go out there and shake hands and have a good, fun little wrestling exhibition. I'm pissed. I don't want to go out there and do something that I'm going to regret later down the road. They don't call me the StarKiller for nothing.
Okay.
Sounds like you have your answer.
You heard it here. Jeez.
So I have a question, quite a few questions for you, Mr. Rainey.
And I got a couple answers if you ask me nicely.
Well, one of the questions in, I believe it's NBW, yeah. What is your favorite gimmick in NBW at the moment?
Favorite? Yeah. Well, it's weird because with this new Hulu deal, I feel like I don't have a say in if we're talking real. I don't know if I have a say much in what goes on with Newborn Wrestling if we're talking quote unquote gimmick. If we're really talking about gimmick, because I've played some goofy gimmicks in my life, but it's different when executives have a say in it. So my favorite gimmick, Chris Paradise, I love him. He's one of those guys. And Steve, you've been blessed enough to work a couple matches in Newborn Wrestling with Paradise. I mean, he's something else. I do not like being alone in a room with Chris Paradise. I mean, my guy. I mean, I love, he's great. Joe Bear, before that little accident with Shogun happened, he was great. I mean, he was just a freaking goofball. Like, the fact that I got to pay him less to wrestle than anybody I've ever worked with. I got to pay him less. He was working basically just to get fed. Like, it was the most mind-boggling thing in the world. That, I mean, if I had to go on, I get Chris Paradise and the Swarm. They freak me out. I don't like them. They scare me. But I mean, if they're scaring me, they're doing something right.
Well, speaking of less pay, I just kind of want to go kind of off subject here for a little bit, but stay within the parameters of NBW. Recently, you had a 3-night event, and I believe it was on the second night. My good friend and the guy that brought me into the business, Chris DeLeon, faces son Jacob.
The Newborn Wrestling champion.
Yeah, and they face each other for the title. I just happened to be able to watch it, thankfully.
Gotta love Hulu.
Yeah, gotta love Hulu. But I was really surprised at the way Jacob handled everything and telling his father that he loved him. I mean, I thought that was really big of Jacob. I mean, putting his personal differences aside to tell his father that he loved him.
But do you believe that? He's a DeLeon. Come on. I mean, if we just get the background of why this match happened, after after it might have been a Newborn Wrestling Live it was Steve. Do you remember the event after it went off the air? Jacob went over my head. He went over. Hulu was furious about this because they went over my head, and he decided after his match, after the fatal 4-way between yourself, Jacob, Paradise, and Yusuke Toriyama, he took to the mic and he just was ripping on the product, and he was ripping on his father, Chris DeLeon. And I yelled at him after. I mean, I couldn't do anything. I mean, the deal with Jacob DeLeon is you cannot tame him. I tried putting him on a freaking leash, but there's nothing I can do because he's going to say what he's going to say regardless. And he called out Chris DeLeon. So the next morning, guess who calls me? Chris DeLeon. And he calls me, and me and him have a good working relationship. I mean, I've worked matches with him. He's one of my favorite guys in the business. But he calls me, and he wants to work a match. He told me, I don't care what you pay me. Pay me whatever you pay the guys to set up and break down the shows. I want him. I want to fight him, and I want the Newborn Wrestling Championship. So the rest is history. But can we really believe that Jacob loves his dad? I mean, after everything he said about him, I mean, that's your vote at that point.
Well, I do know that right now that Chris DeLeon is just taking this like any professional wrestler would. You know, a loss is a loss, but losing to his son and not being able to hold the one world title that he probably will never have another shot at seems to be bothering him.
But that's the great thing about Newborn Wrestling, and Steve has preached this. Anything can happen at any time. I mean, look at the story of Steve. I remember it was we were setting up, I had this idea for Battle of New Orleans. It was last October. It was going to be the biggest tournament in the business. I mean, guys were calling me all over the circuit. I mean, it wasn't just guys in the South, because Newborn Wrestling is based out in the South, in the Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama area. Like that's just where we're located. But guys from St. Louis, guys all over the place, guys from North Carolina, guys all over the place. They were calling me, and Steve was one of those guys who talked to me. I didn't have to seek him out. He said, hey, I want a part of this. And what happened? Steve wins, not a member of the Newborn Wrestling roster. He wins the Battle of New Orleans. And he goes on to defeat Matt Diamond to become the Newborn Wrestling champion. Now we're where we are now. Anything can happen at any time. Anyone can, I mean, Chris DeLeon could get another title shot. He could not. But I mean, anybody can win a title at any point. Anyone can win any match. It's why we have the hottest product in professional wrestling today.
I would have to agree with that. I was talking to Stoner last night because, of course, you know, you had, you know, your personal stuff going on, and Steve had his family emergency. But you know, I think, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that HOPW's the big, you know, the big company, and NBW is like the hot company. Like, not that HOPW is not, but NBW is just hot. It's on fire. It's got so many working parts going on, and it's just amazing what's going on in NBW right now. To watch the product go from, you know, gymnasiums, little tiny Planet Fitnesses, you know. I've actually had the opportunity to be backstage at some of huge events, and I do appreciate it every time I give you a call. You tell me to just come up and check it out, and you know, I've been able to give some of the boys some advice on what to do out there. But NBW is hot. NBW is hot right now, especially with your new product, if you want to call it that, and that's Big Easy Wrestling. Is that correct?
Yes, it is Big Easy Wrestling. It actually, we had originally it was a partnership kind of deal out of New Orleans. A lot of our native guys who I would bring up to do newborn wrestling matches, our younger guys I got to work with, and eventually, because of our influx of talent and how everyone wants a shot at everything, Hulu wasn't happy that not every guy was being showcased in the best light possible. So they've been very generous with us. I mean, they put together the den for us. I mean, and we tape our shows there. We do big events there. I'd imagine other companies are going to ask to use the den at some point, but the den is great. But they are funding the Big Easy Wrestling so that we can have guys in development and we can have some of the best talents really across the world to compete in Big Easy Wrestling. I mean, this isn't just a platform for younger guys to grow and learn. This is a platform where some of the best competitors in the business are going to be able to compete. I mean, if you look at some of the guys who are there, we have Creed, and he will only ever be Creed because he's a fighter. I mean, Steve, what's your opinion on guys like Creed? I mean, we have Jay Blaze, we have Josh Collins, we have Nate Faber, all under the Big Easy brand. What do you feel about that?
Steve? Steve? Have we lost Steve?
It's possible.
Well, that sucks. But, wow, talk about sidetracking.
Oh my goodness. Well, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I kind of lost track of the question while I was talking. I think giving all the personal issues that he's had aside, Josh Collins quite possibly may be the foundation that is needed for something like BEW.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Okay. And it looks like we've lost Steve Smith. Maybe he walked away while we were talking.
You never know with him. He's always doing something.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, I'm having my people looking for him. But I think BEW and the guys that are in BEW are going to be awesome for the product. I'm looking forward to it, and I know that Chris DeLeon is looking forward to it. I know that you've actually told me that I'm welcome to come down to New Orleans and or come over. Down, up, I'm not sure. I don't know how it goes. But that, you told me I'm welcome to come over and give the boys some advice and I'd always be willing to help with management and booking and things like that.
But there's something I need to address real quick because Kelly Hackenschmidt, there's something I need to address. I don't know if you caught this night 3, we had the big tournament happening. And Yusuke Toriyama, I don't know if you're a fan of him, but he's a little devil. I mean, night 1, I banned Alex Sharp from the den because he was causing trouble, and I knew he was going to try to screw over the whole tournament in favor of Yusuke Toriyama. I knew that was going to happen, but I mean, I kicked it out, so I tried. Long story short, Yusuke Toriyama, the tombstone is banned. It was banned by Hulu, and he did it anyway, and he tried taking out Kelly Hackenschmidt. So I did what I had to do. I made it a triple threat. Kelly couldn't compete. And I mean, Yusuke Toriyama will be fined. he possibly will be suspended. I don't know. That's not my call. That's Hulu's call. So I apologize to Kelly Hackenschmidt that this happened, but it is what it is. It's the nature of this business. So Kelly, I apologize.
It's very big of you to apologize. I did see that the Tombstone was banned. I did see that, and I did see that Alex Sharp was not allowed back in NBW. Or do you think that's going to be taken care of anytime soon, or are you going to allow Alex Sharp back in NBW?
I mean, I have to reinstate him. I'm not gonna risk this deal with Hulu over Alex Sharp. At the same time, the legal fees, that's not something I can handle. So Alex Sharp will return as soon as Yusuke Toriyama decides to return my calls and realize that in newborn wrestling is bigger than Yusuke Toriyama and the Inoki Corporation.
Well, I know that Yusuke Toriyama-sama is a huge deal in professional wrestling, and that he...
international sensation.
Right. And
for sure.
Absolutely one of the biggest stars in NBW, for sure. Has had some amazing matches against
He's
Steve.
a talent.
Yeah, against
If
Steve
he wasn't
Smith
the
and
talent,
more.
he wouldn't be here.
Right. So, we have some more questions. It appears that Kelly Hackenschmidt wants to know, who do you think is currently the best wrestler today?
Best wrestler today?
He says the I'm sorry, that was Parker.
Prince Parker Mitchell.
Yeah.
Best wrestler today.
And then Kelly wants to know, the bell never rang, so why did Yusuke advance? I guess that's what you were answering.
I was explaining that. The best wrestler today, I mean, if you look at from a wrestling standpoint, I mean, the best wrestler is who holds the championship. And I think everybody knows the championship is the Newborn Wrestling Championship. So until someone beats Jacob, I mean, there's no question that he has to be number one on the list. I mean, if you look at the guys he beat Chris Paradise, he beat Steve, he beat Yusuke Toriyama, he beat Chris DeLeon. I mean, Chris DeLeon could be up for that conversation. I mean, there's a lot of guys who are top guys, like Stoner's a top guy, Jimmy Dunn is a top guy, very underrated talent, and I am so blessed to have him in newborn wrestling. But until someone beats Jacob DeLeon, I mean, whoever has that belt is the best wrestler in the world. I don't care how you spin it. And to be the man, you gotta beat the man.
I've heard that before somewhere. So, the other question is that they want to know, what are we going to do about LJ? I know you kind of touched on that earlier.
Steve talked about it. I mean, what we're going to do about LJ Bradley? I mean, LJ's contract is up at the end of July. He's not going to resign unless he fights Steve, because I feel like he needs to prove something to Steve and needs to prove something to every person in the den. So, I mean, they're kind of forcing my hand, Jim. I mean, they're not giving me much of a choice here. It's not something I want to see happen. I didn't want to see LJ Bradley take out his best friend and assault Steve's wife. I mean, this is not something I wanted, but I mean, he's not giving me a choice. Steve doesn't want to fight him, but LJ isn't going to stop until LJ gets this match.
Well, I do want to say that Kelly Hackenschmidt says that he's going to confront you personally on this matter.
Good luck with that, Kelly.
And Prince Parker Mitchell, the 2500, says Jacob's never beat him.
well, Prince Parker, whatever, you haven't been here long enough to, I mean, but hands off to Parker Mitchell's. I mean, he is a guy who actually was drafted on the Newborn Wrestling brand, and he decided, he came out to me and he was like, hey, I want to be in BEW. This is somewhere I feel like I need to be right now. So, I mean, hats off to him. I mean, that's selfless. Like, that's just the kind of attitude that will take you places. Just put me where you need me to be to put on the best show. So, Parker Mitchell, I think he has a great future ahead of him. I mean, if you look at Show Your Worth in the night one, do you remember who shook his hand and watched his match and was scouting him?
I do not.
None other than Lonnie Del Monte. I mean, and Lonnie has an eye for talent. So, I mean, that should tell you the whole story of Parker Mitchell's. I mean, if Lonnie has an eye on Parker, Parker's going to be a guy to watch.
Well, I know that Parker has had some history with my friend and my client, Chris DeLeon. The two have met. He's beat him twice.
I mean, that should tell you the whole story about Prince Parker Mitchell's. I mean, he is a talent.
Now, granted, in the defense of my client was not at his best.
Okay. So Sophia Smith, ooh, I love her. She's the best part about Inoki. I mean, she wants to talk about the female wrestlers. I mean, Newborn Wrestling. I guess to make this clear, there is no women division. There's not. There is every title, and how I did with the brand split, with the developmental and everything. Everyone was treated the exact same, male or female. There's no division until I feel like there is a need. So, Sophia, people like you can fight for the Newborn Wrestling title. You can fight for the Newbury title. You can fight for the television title. You can be in a tag team and fight for the tag title. I don't care. It's whatever you want to do, and if you can compete at a high enough level, I don't care where you want to be. Show me you deserve that spot, and the spot is yours. But I mean, Jim, there's a lot of speculation with Sophia Smith and Inoki pertaining Danny Knox, because as Danny had a match with this new belly to belly suplexing machine. I think his last name is Adams. I mean, he's a new guy. I signed him off the streets. He was begging for a job. I put him with Danny. Danny did win. But at the end of the match, we saw Sophia come out to congratulate Danny. So I don't know what that means. I mean, I don't like paying attention to all the relationships that happen in our business, but I think ultimately this one might be kind of interesting to watch. I mean, someday we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to call up Sophia and just try to get what the down low is on that situation, since Danny is a piece of crap and won't answer any of my calls ever. He just shows up to get paid.
Well, I do hope that you are able to take care of that situation. Definitely want to make, hey, what? Did security let you in? Hey, Rainey, sit down. Sit down, Rainey. Wait. Kelly, did security let you in?
Yes, they did.
Okay, all right, just stand right there. Rainey, sit down.
Hey, buddy.
Rainey, sit down.
Hey, bud.
Hey, okay, both of you need.
I'm
Hey,
wondering, why did
Kelly, stop.
Kelly, the bell didn't ring.
Kelly, stop. Okay, listen. Okay, I'm apparently I'm gonna have to get some new security guards. You need to do.
They're
Kelly,
terrible.
Kelly,
Give me the freaking answers.
Kelly, do me a favor.
I want them now.
Do me a favor. I need you to sit down right there.
Yeah, sit
Sit
down.
down. You're in freaking
Listen.
Japan.
Hey,
Like my honey, and I should be fine.
All right, now listen. Okay, Rainey, apparently he wants some answers, and apparently he's got some issues with you two, but I need you two to just not fight, okay? So, Kelly, I need you to be calm. I don't have to worry about that with Rainey, because I know Rainey for a long time now, so just calm down, and if you can, just have a decent conversation.
Hey, how's the neck? Is it doing good?
Kelly?
Yeah?
How's the neck feeling?
Feeling fine, thank you very much, especially after I screwed Yusuke over with that chair.
I mean, I'm glad you did that. I mean, that's getting even. I mean, in newborn wrestling, it's never been about
I played a
revenge.
win. Should know be better than that, Rainey.
You do play to win. But I mean, Yusuke Toriyama, I've talked about ad nauseum. He is a problem, but he needs to play by the rules. He tuned something that was an outlawed.
What? I let this all slide. He put me with him in a cage.
Budget.
Hey, hold on a second.
Afford a style match with me and James Knight at Better Than the Best. You can afford a regular steel cage match with me and Yusuke.
Okay, Rainey, you can say no if you want to, but because you and I are friends, and we go back a long way, I now have, like, Ultimate Wrestling Incorporated is mine. And all the supplies from every single company that we've ever owned or acquired, we have. And I'm willing to loan you a steel cage.
Kelly,
Yes?
do you feel like you should be number one contender right now?
I do, yes.
Why is that?
Because I got screwed over, because I never got into the triple threat I should be in, even though the bell never rang, even though I was still medically cleared to compete after that pile driver.
You were on a stretcher. Come on. I had to do the right thing for this
but that was
show
like
to
freaking
continue.
temporary. I got back up on my feet after.
Oh, Steve, thank you, Steve. Golly, dude. Hold on a second. Okay, wait a minute. That's Kelly over in the corner, by the way. I don't know if you two have met. Okay, so Steve, welcome back. Steve, okay, so let me bring you up to speed on things.
Okay.
I don't know where you went. I turned around and you're gone. Thanks a lot, co-host.
Sorry.
Who hasn't plugged TechnoAxe yet. So you can just go ahead and plug TechnoAxe and we'll get back to the show.
Hey, you know what's worse than having the swarm come down and kick your face in, and then having your best friend do the same thing to you and your wife? Horrible music. And you won't find any of that at TechnoAxe. TechnoAxe is the music that you're listening to right now. And it's awesome. It's definitely not getting kicked in the face by three guys who are terrifying. Go ahead and subscribe over to their channel. And while you're at it, you can go and listen to this awesome music. Exactly. Ace Wild Pile Drive Bad Music, and subscribe to TechnoAxe.
And to Cooking with Jim Foster.
Okay. So, Steve, Kelly, Steve, I'm sure you met.
Oh, yeah, we've already met.
What's up, Kels? What's up, guy who signs my paycheck?
Okay. Kelly, I know you're upset. What do you want? What could I do? What could I have done? I have to look at the big picture. Have you ever been in charge of something like this when corporate people are breathing down your neck to make sure a show happens? And guys like Alex Sharp and freaking Yusuke Toriyama, do you know what that's like? The pressure that's on? I did the next best thing for newborn wrestling. I'm sorry that I couldn't put the best interest of Kelly Hackenschmidt at heart. But if you weren't picking fights with Inoki, if you weren't picking fights with Grayson Hood every freaking week, I wouldn't have to, damage control because of your crap.
I think my damage control is just fine, man. I mean, hey, people love a fight. People love a good draw. What I am is a draw. Who do you think sells the most t-shirts out in Canada? You think it's Curtis Strong?
It's me, right?
It's me.
Steve.
Oh.
Those Holy Schmidt t-shirts are the biggest selling product up in Canada. Probably the biggest selling up in Michigan.
I've got one, and I live in Florida.
It's true. He does live in Florida. But, I mean, I get... Steve.
What's up,
explain
man?
to Kelly why this is puts me in uncomfortable. He wants to fight Yusuke. He wants to fight him, and I don't know what to do.
And he wants to fight him in a cage, and Rainey
you
doesn't
know our
have.
financial situation.
Yeah,
You know.
and I'm willing to. Steve, you've seen the offices of Ultimate Wrestling Incorporated. You've seen all the things that we have from all the companies
Pretty
that
damn
we've
good, I gotta
acquired.
say.
I
And
mean,
you know that we have a steel cage or 5, and
20.
I do we have 20? Is that
Last I checked, yes.
okay? What you're doing around my cages, I have no idea, but I'm gonna have security keep a tight leash on you, anyways. So basically, what I did was I offered
It's not me.
Rainey one of my cages for this match, and so I'm just kind of filling you in here.
let me tell you. You know, from somebody who is fighting another Japanese Yakuza extortionist guy. I've been fighting Yusuke for years. If you want to fight for, in an MBW match, he has no interest in MBW or T-shirts or being a draw. He doesn't care. He doesn't even care about this company. I mean,
Draws make money. Yusuke's motivated by money.
he doesn't even care about money. He answers to a bunch of people in Japan who give him whatever the fuck he wants. If you're gonna do this with him, lay him out one time, or he's gonna follow you around for the rest of your career.
I mean, something, Kelly, something you have to understand is he doesn't care about rules. You're a guy who follows the rules by the book. We outlawed the tombstone. A week later, he hits you with the tombstone.
In that ring with fucking Yusuke, expect me to break every single fucking rule in the book. It won't be a match, it'll be a snuff film.
Okay.
So
don't let him kind of lower to your standards, man.
Well,
there's not a lot of faces out here left on the earth. I can't be the only one.
Okay, well, the owner of hold on, Kelly. The owner of NBW is here. Another officer of UWI, Steve Smith, is here. I know Steve Smith will agree with anything I say because I'm basically his boss.
Me too.
The cage is available. You're free to use it if you like. It's there for the taking, and other than that, we're not getting involved.
Okay, Kelly. Okay. I'll you want it? I gotta make you really want it. I mean, this week you go one-on-one with your former tag team partner Grayson Hood. You were the joint joke. If you beat Grayson Hood, if you can beat Grayson Hood on Livewire, you can fight Yusuke in a cage. I'll give you that. But I will not be held responsible for what he does and what you do. This is on you. You need to somehow get your people to sign something and get his people to sign something, because Newborn Wrestling will not be held responsible for anyone getting hurt.
And
I will not be responsible for Laura having to raise that kid by herself.
Might I add, and I know Steve agrees with me 100%. Ultimate Wrestling Incorporated is supplying the cage. We will not be held responsible for anything that happens to you either. I want to say that
Kelly,
as well.
Kelly, you have to understand. Understand this. Is this worth your kid growing up without a dad?
Bring my fucking kid into it? It matters to me? I'm sorry, I fucking love Laura to death, and I fucking love Ross, but sheesh, man, when someone disrupts honor, I feel like if I don't settle with somebody, nobody will. Okay.
You know the deal. Get your people to sign it. I'll talk to Alex Sharp. You beat Grayson Hood, and the match is yours.
Good.
He's probably just going to use the contract deal of doing it as a way to plug his vaping studio.
That's probably about it, though.
And shout out to Laura Lane, who is officially a commentator for Big Easy Wrestling. I mean, congratulations to her.
Good job.
Okay.
That's good that somebody can get out of the ring, but they could still stay in the industry and
Oh yeah,
contribute.
it's a nice transition. I mean, I'm a big fan of her.
And especially good.
Back after you leave anyway, so.
Somebody who knows what they're doing because they've been inside of it. So now when they do commentary, it kind of adds that layer. People still want to see her on TV. So.
She's a beautiful woman. Just as a professional, she's a beautiful woman. But again, you've heard it laid down right here on Booking with Jim Foster. Yusuke Toriyama versus Kelly Hackenschmidt. Toriyama.
Yusuke Toriyama.
He tried suing me last time I said it wrong.
Okay.
We're not.
Sama.
Right.
So should Kelly Hackenschmidt beat Grayson Hood, he gets his match with the guy whose name I don't want to say wrong because I've got money, but I don't think I have that much. I don't think I have that kind of money.
Okay, but while we're on the subject, I just need to. Well, I'm just gonna bring this up. Big Easy Wrestling's first show will be in the next week or so. It's actually gonna be an event. Each show is an event. I'm just gonna break this down. The first match will be it's a really cool concept that you can only find with the new Newborn Wrestling product. It'll start out as a one-on-one. It's a gauntlet style match. First guy to get a pinfall, he stays in the match. The guy he beats is eliminated. Then another guy comes in. And this goes forth. Every guy on the roster will be in this match. The last guy standing, last guy with a pinfall, is WEW First Champion. It's a concept. It's a concept and a half, and we're really excited to get that going. I mean, we're going to see awesome names. We're going to see Faber in that match. We're going to see Chris DeLeon. We're going to see Josh Collins. I mean, Steve, do you have a favorite guy who is signed to the BW roster?
Steve?
Steve left again.
Yeah?
We literally turn around and the guy's gone.
God, he's like a freaking cat.
I would say Apollos.
Apollos?
Yep.
Oh, there he is.
I guess it's a long time.
I mean, Creed he's a talent and a half.
Well,
Definitely a huge talent, big fan of him, even though he thinks I hate him. No, I'm like his biggest fan. He makes me a lot of money.
I think just having the ability to have that opportunity and have, again, separate.
Oh yeah, he's one of those guys, when we first announced the concept, he was the first one to say, sign me up, I want to be there, I want to be the guy. I mean, he just shows the flexibility of Creed and how he's always looking for the next best opportunity. Steve, I have a question. What has been your favorite newborn wrestling match?
My favorite newborn wrestling match.
That you can remember, because I know a couple of those diamond kicks to
Yeah.
your head can really mess you up.
I love anything with Joe Bear. Joe Bear is my favorite forever. Joe Bear.
Did you know we got in legal trouble because of Joe Bear? He was signing he had these counterfeit newborn wrestling T-shirts, and we got in so much trouble because Hulu. It was when all these networks, Hulu, DirecTV, all these networks were gunning for us, and they were like, "What the hell is this shit? Who is this guy? You're paying him?" And I was like, "I don't."
I'm starting to hate you, man.
Great job, Joe.
I mean,
Way to go.
he just, God. But he won a match. He beat the
I'm getting
master of
out of
the
here.
East Walker Power Driver.
Kelly just walked away. Like, huh?
I guess he was
Still here.
serious.
Oh,
Oh.
you're here? Okay. Well, I mean,
see.
like Kelly, I'm sorry you're not the center of attention, but we're talking about NBW
No, it's fine.
here.
I'm not worried about not being the center of attention.
All right.
But I'm on my honeymoon and make out.
Oh. Okay.
You know. So yeah, back to chilling out. Laura just got back home. Hey, thanks for talking it out with me.
All right, Kelly Hackenschmidt, everybody.
Woo!
I like Kelly.
He
Good
came
guy.
here and got what he wanted. Respect that.
Huh?
Don't know how he found us that quick. But,
Probably the internet. You can find everything on the internet.
Yeah, you
you can
can.
find a lot of things about Rainey you don't want to see on the internet.
There's some things I don't want people to see about me and my wife on there.
Oh.
But you can for $19.99 a month.
It's funny, I got that without the subscription.
Shh. Trying to make a dime over here.
Oh,
You don't have to sign all my paychecks. Sam and the other guy I'm next to.
So, somebody wanted your honest opinions on Shogun and Joe Bear.
Joe Bear is my favorite thing in the whole wide world. He kind of reminds me of Buddy. And Shogun. It's going to be interesting working with him in the ring. You know, I kind of had my fill lifetime of working with scary Japanese guys with Yusuke, but he's definitely a unique one. So let's no pause, jumping right back into the thick of it. So I'm looking forward to see what it is, and yeah.
I'm kind of curious, like because when you came back, did you really think that the first night back you would be against a guy like Shogun? I mean, I don't like him. I mean, he disturbs everything. He's not here to win matches. I know that. I mean, me and him have had several altercations the past few weeks. He's not here to win matches. He's here to hurt people. And I mean, I put you in the match for one reason, because I know if anyone's gonna, if he's gonna hit someone, the one guy who's gonna kick back harder is Steve StarKiller Smith.
You know, I've always kind of been one of those indie guys until I came here and I made this place my home. And I'm not really gonna just let anybody run in here and do whatever they want. You know, big ups to Kelly for manning up and saying, hey, this is one way I'm going to handle my business. And I kind of, no matter what anybody says, what I have done, where I'm at or anything, I'm the top ace of NBW. This is my home. So when somebody comes in here and they want to just completely run shit all over us like that, I'm not just going to bow down or say this isn't my fight. This is my fight. So I'm going to take it to him. And I guess it's up to me to see how much ring rust I got, but I've been working. I got a couple of new tricks up my sleeve.
Oh my goodness. Do you have a favorite rival in newborn wrestling? Because you came in with major beef with Matt Diamond. I mean, that was out the gate. Matt Diamond was the guy. The spot you took was his spot. He held that title for, I think, 5 months. The longest reign out of any champion.
Yeah. I think it probably still is Matt Diamond, because
I mean, we haven't heard from him since he lost to Creed at Better Than the Best. I mean, do you think he's gonna come back? He's been off my grid. Like, I have a list of guys who just won't call me back. So many people never call me back. but he's one of those guys.
Um, that's something where we're gonna have to reach out and see if he comes back. You know, again, there's a list of people who want to work for us. So for everyone who comes and goes, there's another one who wants to take that person's spot. You know, like Boris Graham. You know,
Oh,
Boris
man.
Graham, he's a freaking monster.
I love Boris Graham. Don't even get me started. I mean, that is a guy that as soon as I saw him, I thought I missed out on a great opportunity to sign him. But he
he's a monster of a man.
He was in GWF 2.0, so I got to see him like right in the very beginning.
That's a guy who used to toss me around like a rag doll. And if it wasn't for the fact that, again, innovating offense, I would probably, I wouldn't be in where I'm at now. It's probably working with him for years that I'm able to do some of the spots I can do.
I mean, I worked with him in HOPW, and that's why he's on the Newborn Wrestling roster, because I was not going to miss out on him freaking killing everyone. I mean, he's a machine, and it scares me that he sided with K. Mullins. Because Chris Mullins, hats off to him. He's an innovative mind. He's right up there with Alex Sharp, with just this mind of. I mean, I believe he is the reason Miguel Rogers is trying for the #1 contender against Stoner. I think he has to, because Roderick, since teaming up with Mullins, he's a different man. Something has changed, and I think Mullins might be that change.
I want to see K. Mullins Inc. versus Anoki Corporation. I want to see that. I bet like a 3-on-3 tournament would be. A trios match would be a good match for those.
Well, the Hulu executives, I don't know if you were following the story as it was developing. They were pushing for a trios tournament. And that kind of leads to the James Knight problem. I don't know if you guys are aware of James Knight's new hatred for Newborn Wrestling.
Yeah.
But it's a hatred because we were in negotiations with London, England, and we were in negotiations with, I believe it was Tokyo, Japan. And negotiations fell short with Japan. And I don't know what to tell you. It might be that my Japanese is weak as hell, but it just fell through. And James Knight, since then, he's not the same man. I mean, this was one of my closest friends in the business. I mean, he has shown me so much of what I am today. And the fact that he used to love Newborn Wrestling, now that he's waging war on Newborn Wrestling and doing whatever he can to make a statement, it scares me. It scares me. But that trio tournament is set to happen next month, and the first time we go overseas to London, England.
Speaking of scary things, Steve, you know what's really scary?
What's that?
Crappy music.
It is. That's scary stuff. Luckily, we don't have to deal with that here.
Well, and why is that?
Foster, because we have the music you're listening to now from Technoax.
Yeah.
You can go onto that page on YouTube and subscribe to it, and you don't have to listen to the horrors of horrible music.
And that's that. And did we get paid for this?
No, we don't.
Oh.
We don't get paid. All we have to do is just believe in the awesomeness of this music, and it protects us from the horrible music, because Technoax will chop its way into your hearts with the sounds.
I'm gonna cry. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome, man.
I thought you could cut a promo. Now he cut his way into my heart.
So, while we're talking about tournaments, and while we're talking about NBW, as you know, Chris DeLeon is kind of making his way towards the end of his career. He's also decided that he's going to stay on in a limited capacity because, as you broke the news earlier this week, that he is extremely excited to be part of BEW. I have taken over Ultimate Wrestling Incorporated. I actually own the company now, and I also own Tabloid, which has been on a kind of like a weird kind of hiatus.
Tabloid is actually how I found. I really appreciate Tabloid because it's how I've been scouting talent and along with NBW and straight from Tabloid. And the biggest guy who I found because of Tabloid has to be Danny Knox.
Yes.
I mean, this kid is a talent and a half. I mean, within his first month in Newborn Wrestling with his brother Chris Knox, he wins the NBW Tag Team Championships. I mean, it was, if I remember right, they beat LJ and Steve. I mean, Steve, what was it like working with Danny? I haven't had that pleasure yet, but I mean, this kid is something else.
Hey, death by elbow, that's it's not called that for no reason. Don't get me wrong. I think I could throw some StarKiller kicks and some super kicks and all that stuff. But when somebody just kind of rears back and throws that elbow at you, you're gonna know what time it is real quick when you wake up. Eventually,
And go ahead.
powerful dude. He's gonna make some waves. I noticed he's got Sophia going out with him to the ring.
I mean,
that might be what he needs to. Yeah, that might be all he
keeps
needs.
him motivated, because if we go back a little bit, I mean, Danny, someone he debuted at one point was Sarah DeLeon.
Yeah.
So he goes way back with the DeLeons, and if I remember I was talking to Danny before the show, and I was just talking to him, and we were just talking about guys who he grew up watching to wrestle, and he was just giddy because he thought it was so cool because he used to see Chris DeLeon all over Florida. He used to go to shows to see Chris DeLeon compete, and he was just giddy because that could have potentially been like his father-in-law. Like he just respects the hell out of the DeLeons, and he is the best friend of Jacob DeLeon. I mean, the history this kid has with the DeLeon family really goes way back.
So I wanted to go ahead and kind of cut in here because, like I told Connor the other night, it is my show. It's also Steve's show, and it's also your show, and it's their show. The tag team tournament that I had meant to have, we're missing one tag team because we had all the tag teams, and then one of the tag teams, of course, had Disciple of Metal in it, and of course everything that happened between him and my client Chris DeLeon, I had to go ahead and take his tag team out of it. So Ultimate Wrestling Incorporated tag team titles are on, like, we're having a tournament to crown our first ever tag team UWI tag team champions, and so we're missing one tag team. So if you want to be part of it, just let me know.
Anyone, please.
Cream, Apollos and Dunn. Who else?
I'm actually competing in it myself. I'm teaming up with
He is.
Shadows, which when he's not in his swarm, whatever, he's a cool guy. Outside of all that freaking scary, swarmy.
I haven't talked to him since he started rolling with them cats. I mean,
He's a changed man, and I don't understand it, because he's always said it's a means to an end. When Paradise in this form stops benefiting him, he's out, but he's still there.
Well, let me tell you the teams that are in it. The Suicidal Brothers
Oh God!
will take on
Done?
Destined for Greatness.
Who the hell is that?
Don't remember who they are just yet. Corporate Nightmare.
What is that?
That is, golly, I had them all written down. I've just had
Dark
so
Terror
much.
and Alex Sharp.
And then they'll be facing whoever fills that spot. The Organization. we'll be taking on two young men who Steve StarKiller Smith knows very well.
They
The
kicked them in the
Spot
face.
Monkeys.
I love them, but they really broke my heart because they actually, I don't know if you
broke my
were there,
face.
but they kicked Steve and they sided with Alex Sharp. Like, I don't know. I don't understand them, Steve. Are they mad at you about some family drama or something, or
No,
explain
they
the
just
psychology of that?
they just want to get over, and they think that's the way to do it.
BDSM, and I don't remember who they are either, will take on Turmoil, Turmoil are actually clients of mine. They are James Richmond and Benjamin Jackson. They were supposed to be competing in NCW and another company, and Benjamin Jackson had some things come up, and James Richmond couldn't find another tag team partner, and so they took a hiatus, and now they're waiting on this tag team tournament. So I can put the link back on Booking with Jim Foster. You can go ahead and look into it. Let me go ahead and it's supposed to be this Sunday, but it looks like I'm gonna have to change the date on it because
you must have really good relations with some people if you can change it last minute like that. Like, I would have to pay a freaking fee if anyone in Louisiana I had to pull a show. Like, yeah, they don't really like me in Louisiana outside New Orleans. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you ever caught that, Steve. I mean, when we were going through Monroe and all that, I mean, they don't like me too much, but that's why I'm always just kind of hiding behind guys like you, because you make it look really good.
Hey, you just what did you gotta do? Pick the people who are from around there and just showcase them off. Like Carolinas, you get your Carolina guys out there. You get your
You
New
got all the
Orleans
Carolina
people.
guys.
Yeah, Carolina Club for life.
For life. Except for Jake Haze. Who is a guy who refuses to even begin negotiations with New Bern Wrestling, which drives me nuts, because he's a guy I would love. He was rated the #1 wrestler in the world. I mean, but he's too big for New Bern Wrestling. I guess we couldn't really afford him either. I mean, he's pretty top dollar.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Steve was over there working for pennies.
Yeah. Number 6, working for pennies. That's okay. That's okay, because next year I'm shooting for #1.
I mean, you're gonna make a run for it. So
I'm going to.
Jimmy boy, Jim. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
have any questions while you have me on the air?
Well, I do have a question, and that is that, and I'm glad that Steve is here. We would like to officially recognize. I know you're in a partnership with our little company WKW, which Christopher J. Miller is now running, and you're partnered with Tabloid. I would like to ask you here on the podcast. We don't want to interfere with anything. We don't want to take away from the intimacy that you have with your audience. We know you don't aspire to be big, but we'd like to offer you a partnership with Ultimate Wrestling Incorporated. And we'd like to be able to provide things like a cage when you need them, and just, come under our umbrella to where we can help you should you need it.
Wow, I mean, that's... Jim, I know you... There's always a but with you.
There's not.
There's always what you get in exchange for something like that. There's always strings attached with you. What is it?
There isn't.
That's true. I mean, we would be honored to
But
have you. Oh, they tell us the
but I would like to make sure that the relationship with Tabloid and NVW stays strong. Strong. It's very important to me.
Curtis Strong.
No, not Curtis Strong. I don't even like that guy. He turned down a chance for me to be his manager. I drove all the way to the great country of Canada to meet him.
Canadian.
And he said no, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, who wouldn't want to be? Who wouldn't want to be managed by Jim Foster?
Well, anyone managed by Lonnie Delonte. That's a trend.
That's a sad trend. You know.
I mean,
you know.
But Lonnie, we look at history. Is he the more successful manager than you, Jim?
That doesn't bother me. I'm the more successful businessman. He can't take that away from me.
So there's Jim Foster, there's Lonnie, Mullins,
Sharp.
Yep.
I mean, Mullins, I can't say enough nice things about him.
But
I mean,
you openly said that there's always a but with me. Does that mean that you don't love Jim Foster anymore?
I don't love anyone but Steve StarKiller Smith.
Yay!
Do you love the music you're hearing?
Please say yes so I don't have to plug it again.
You might say it's better than the best.
Thank God. Yes. He did it. The thing, he totally did it.
No, he started it. He didn't follow through. Because if he doesn't follow through, you have to.
The better than the best music you're listening to is Techno Act. It's totally free, and we're not getting paid to say that. It's what you're listening to right now. You can go over to their site or their page on YouTube and hit subscribe. When you do, you'll keep on listening to the music. That is truly better than the best.
Don't you wish that every time you clicked on the Techno Act subscribe button, that it automatically took you to a link to buy a Steve StarKiller Smith shirt?
Oh my God, yes.
But you can buy Steve StarKiller Smith shirts along with several other Newborn Wrestling roster guys shirts simply by Thunderstruck Designs is our main distributor for t-shirts. I mean, if you want to get in contact with him, his information is on the Newborn Wrestling website. I mean, if you want to get in contact with him, I mean, with them, like, he will hook you up. I mean, the main guy, I mean, Kyle, he's great. I mean, he designs all of our stuff. He has for a very long time.
The Thunderstruck design, my design, the Shadow Stomp design, a lot of good stuff.
Well, I think that's awesome that you guys are plugging this. But I just gotta say, I have a feeling that this is Christian Rainey's way of closing out his conversation with us so that he can go get back to the arena and pick up the bubble gum from the floor and possibly the popcorn.
You think I'm not taking Steve with me?
Yeah,
well, no. Steve's got to help close out the show as well. So, is there anything else we need to discuss, gentlemen?
I'll go to my end. This has been such a blessing for me to be on the show with you guys. It's been a blast.
And what an honor. The fact that you have never, ever discussed NBW on a podcast.
This was the first time.
How awesome is that happened right here on Booking with Jim Foster. Christian Rainey, the very first time he ever spoke on a podcast about NBW was right here on Booking with Jim Foster. And you folks, you heard it live or you're listening to it on demand. So ladies and gentlemen, that was Christian Rainey. And for Christian Rainey, and Steve StarKiller Smith. Steve, do you have anything else to say?
Subscribe to TechnoAxe, buy my shirts, make sure you listen and watch NBW Live Wire coming up. We also have NBW Live number 22 coming up. So just make sure you go to nbwlive.com, subscribe, come see the hottest independent wrestling on the circuit today.
And ladies and gentlemen, that does it for us. I am Jim Foster. That was Christian Rainey. And that was Steve StarKiller Smith. And again, we're going to get out of here with Guess Who's Knocking by Ryan Bingham.
Guess who's into music six?
Guess who is knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking on the door. Well, I am the brave young lad.
Dude, Kelly's gonna kill her, dude.
Oh my god.
Out of the wild I run.
Kelly just comes on and he's like,
We're gonna burn
I'm the forsaken child.
Oh god! He's gonna murder that guy.
Swept
I bet we're still on here too.
underneath your rug.
Hey Kelly!
Guess who is knocking on the door? Guess who
not
is
hanging up now.
knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking
Well, I guess
on
the
the door?
listeners are going
It's
to hear
me,
the song and the
motherfucker,
song.
I'm knocking on the door.
Hey Vixen, see you in Canada.
I am the brave young lad, followed by hollow years.
Good.
Are you not sports entertained?
I learned to bark at night.
hey, now they would need to make this weekly NBW discussion thing, right? Recap
Guess
shows.
who is knocking
Totally should.
on the door?
Reading with the
Guess
Stars
who
should
is
totally be
knocking on the door?
exclusive.
Guess who
my
is
God, yeah.
knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking
Never
on the
done
door.
Well, that's what happens when you get Spider Tiger Suplex on your shoulder.
I've never had that problem.
So,
I'm good, winning. Are we on the air still?
you would think I picked Freebird.
Want to be exclusive?
Guess
I'm thinking
who
to use
is
my
knocking
other
on the
theme
door?
on the show.
Guess who is knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking on the door. I am the brave young lad,
Jesus Christ.
out from the wild I run.
This is not the greatest song in the world. No, it's not.
Forsaken child. I'm the forgotten one. Guess who is knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking on the door? Guess who is knocking on the door? It's me, motherfucker, I'm knocking on the door.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Booking with Jim Foster. I've been Jim Foster. For Steve StarKiller Smith and Christian Rainey, we're out of here. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you later.